Welcome to Grace and Gratitude Podcast, where you'll hear journeys of hope, inspiration, and miracles. Its goal is to help people find their way back to joy through the inspiring stories of our guests who have successfully risen above the challenges of life with a grace-filled and grateful heart. This podcast is sure to add more gratitude, joy, love, and meaning in your life. And now your host, Vebs Dichoso.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Grace and Gratitude. This is your host, Vebs, and today we have a very inspiring guest. She's the founder of Pearls from My Mom, an online community designed for you to share your favorite recipes, arts, and crafts, and anything else related to the most important woman in your life. It's all about sharing to keep that legacy alive, and we will hear more about that through our lovely and charming guest from Canada, Jesse Kahat. Hi, Jesse. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for being with us, and I'm really excited to hear your story. But before that, can you share with us something more about yourself that most people do not know yet? And what are you most excited about these days?
Well, sure. So I am actually not a Canadian. I'm from Colorado.
Wow.
I know, but I live here. I've been here for like 6 years or so. I was born and raised in Colorado. I was raised by hippies, which I always think is it's a funny thing to say because it sounds like I was raised by wolves or something like that. But my parents were both kind of like hippies. They were pretty chill parents. I guess what you would call like free range parenting these days. We had a nice mountain. I have one sister. She's 3 years older than me. And we had a really nice childhood. We did a lot of playing outdoors. We lived in the mountains of Colorado. So there was lots of hiking and exploring. And, that's kind of the type of person I am. I like to set out on adventure.
Wonderful. It seems like you have a very close family tie, something like that.
Yeah. My family was always really, really close. It was just the four of us. All of my other relatives were out in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So it was just the four of us.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing it. Now, I've seen you have a loving online community. Can you share with us the story behind it and your inspiration behind that online community?
Yeah, for sure. So, my mom was like my best friend in the whole world. She was the person that I would call for everything. She was the person that was, constantly on my mind. We talked every day on the phone, even though, she still lived in Colorado. I lived out here in Canada. We were still, talking every day on the phone. And, so she had come out to visit me. This was right before Thanksgiving in 2014. She had just come out to visit me, and when she was here, she wasn't feeling very well. She had some abdominal pains, and so she wasn't really sure what it was. But she said it was definitely bad enough that when she got home, she wanted to get it checked out. So when she got back to Colorado, she did get it checked out, and it turns out that it was terminal stage 4 cancer in her liver. So this was pretty devastating news. They weren't sure how much time she had left. And, being, like I said, the close relationship that I had with my mom, it was really kind of tough time for me. And especially being so far away, like I was a couple thousand miles away from the person that's the most important to me. And she's going through something that I couldn't be there to help her with. And, same thing. She couldn't be here to comfort me. I don't know. I started thinking I had a few friends whose mothers had passed away, and I always thought that would be like the most, obviously devastating thing to go through. But they never really talked about it. And I wasn't sure if it was because they didn't have a place to share or if they felt like they were alone. But I wanted to start a place where people did feel comfortable sharing things and where it was like I looked online and I didn't really see things like that. I saw a few support groups, but they were kind of, I don't know, they looked depressing, to be honest with you. And I know it's a super depressing topic. Trust me.
Yeah. It seems like you have a very close relationship with your mom. And I know it seems like your mom has influenced you greatly in your life. Can you share with us some of the pearls you have learned from her that really stuck with you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think the biggest overarching theme from my mom I don't know why. Growing up, I had self-esteem issues, and I shouldn't have. Like, there was nothing, wrong with me, I guess. Like I was
We
I
go
was a
through it.
normal child. Like,
Yeah.
there was nothing that I should have been self-conscious about. But actually, I have a duplicitous part of my personality. Part of me was super self-conscious, and the other part, I always wanted to put myself out there, even though I knew, that I would be scared. Like, I always wanted to kind of, I was in theater, and I was in,
Yeah.
I was singing and stuff like that. So my mom, I think the biggest lesson that she taught me was just, don't ever sell yourself short, like, and I know all moms think all their kids are great. I'm a mom now too, and I think my kids are great. But just the confidence that she had in me, really was enough to ease my fears and to put myself out there.
Yeah. I agree with that. I can also relate with you when you want to be like outgoing and at the same time you are a little bit inhibited. I think
Mhm.
we're both ambiverts.
Yep, I can see
I've
that.
heard about that. Okay, now I'd like to know what are the biggest challenges in your life and what did you do to turn it all around?
Well, I think it's funny because I got really comfortable, and I did, I actually went into sales, which is a funny industry for somebody to go into if they're not like 100% confident. But again, it just helped me build my confidence, and so I was like pretty much feeling really good about life at the time when my mom was diagnosed with her cancer, and I don't know why, but for some reason, after she passed away, I was really reluctant to put myself out there anymore. Um, like with my job, I think my job suffered. I actually went through, some depression and anxiety related to the grief. And just, I had all these ideas. I wanted to still work on pearls for my mom. And actually, if you went on there, you would notice that I haven't written anything for like a year. And before that, it had been a few months. And I think it's just because I wrote a lot of stuff. Trust me, I've written a lot of things. But for some reason, I just was really, I don't know what changed after she passed away, but I was just kind of terrified to put myself out there anymore.
Suddenly you just stop.
Yeah, I stopped sharing. I stopped believing that that I was good at what I wanted to do.
And then how were you able to keep positive in life despite all of these challenges?
Well, my mom was a really positive person, and she, I want to say that she was an optimist, but I also want to say that she was a realist. So she wasn't just like unnecessarily optimistic. She wasn't just like optimistic for the sake of being optimistic. She was a realist, and so she believed that she knew that things would be okay, but she also knew that you had to make it okay too.
Yeah, that's a good thing about our moms. I have also a close relationship with my mom, and they have just this insights that come out of nowhere, and then suddenly you're just absorb it, and it really becomes practical in our daily lives.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And based on all the experiences you have had right now, how do you define grace and gratitude?
Well, for me, I think grace and gratitude is defined by looking into yourself and being thankful that you do have what you have. I mean, I think it's easy to look at life and say like, oh, my mom's gone and why did that have to happen to her? And, that's such a terrible thing. But at the same time, I have to look at it from a point of inspiration, and I have to look at it, like maybe if there's something out there that I say that could help somebody that's going through the same thing, maybe, it means something. It's
Yeah.
not all in vain, right?
You're right. I agree on that. And how important gratitude is in your life, and how do you practice it?
So it's super important. I remember the first time I got one of my coworkers handed me the book The Secret, which I hadn't heard of. It was really big at the time.
Yeah.
So I had read it, and I just thought, what an amazing concept, like really, truly, the world is a reflection of yourself, how you treat others and how you choose to live your life. So if you are constantly negative and you're constantly, bashing things and, whatever, like life isn't going to treat you well. right?
Yeah.
And so after I read that book, I started there. They talk a lot about gratitude in that book. And so I started just thanking things, I mean, like as soon as you wake up in the morning, just saying, thank you for this breath today that I'm taking. And thank you for the fact that I can walk. And thank you for the fact that I have food and a house and those kind of things. So I use that quite a bit. And then I started doing daily affirmations in the morning, which I notice when I don't do them, my day is not as smooth as it is when I do
Yeah.
them.
What kind of affirmations do you do?
So I, again, like I said, I had the self-esteem thing. And so I say things like, I have 10 of them actually, and I do them, and I like do them really loud.
Yeah.
It's like I've been told, like the louder you say it, the more proud you are about it, the more you're going to live it, right? So things like, I'm a beautiful person and I'm deserving of the best. And I always use like I am, right? Instead of saying like I want to be or I hope, I say I am. I'm beautiful. I'm a beautiful person, deserving of the best. I'm healthy. I'm strong. I love myself and I am loved. Those kind of things every morning, 10 of them.
Yes,
At the
that's
top of my
wonderful.
lungs.
Yeah. I also have this daily affirmation, and I'm not sure if you do this also, but it's the switch technique, wherein every time you touch a switch, you're going to say some affirmations too.
Oh, I've never done that, but I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, because sometimes even if we try to keep positive in life, there's just this inner critic in ourselves that just keeps on. And so yeah, we need this constant reminders that hey, this is who you are. This is really who you are as a person. And
Yeah, for
you're
sure.
wonderful and magnificent, and you're a beautiful and creature and human being. So yeah. Now, I'd like to know, and I'm curious, what experiences in your life are you most grateful about?
Well, I'm grateful that I had parents that were okay with whatever I wanted to do. My bachelor's degree is in theater, which isn't a terribly, I mean, it is, all degrees are useful. So I don't want to say that it's not, but it's not like a theater, somebody with a theater degree gets out and there's like a guaranteed job in their field, right? I guess it's not that way with any degree these days, but like my parents they always were okay with me following my passion, which had a lot to do with art, music. And I know, not for everybody that stuff isn't practical. And I know that I've had friends their parents were not okay with them pursuing, they wanted them to pursue math or science or something like that. So I think the biggest thing that I'm grateful for is that I did have I still have my dad, but I did have parents that were very, very encouraging and just, happy to let me discover who I wanted to be. So I think that's one of the biggest things I'm grateful for in my
Yeah,
life.
that's wonderful. Really, the support of the family is important, and I'm glad your parents were able to support you whatever paths you've decided to take in life. And now, this is one of the questions that I always ask my guests, and it's really interesting. And I'd like to know if people would remember Jesse Kahat, how would you like to be remembered?
I think that's a great question. And I think that's something that I think about every day,
Yeah.
especially like with the trying to, keep the legacy of my mom alive. I want to be remembered as somebody who's compassionate and somebody who, serves others. I want people to know that I care about them and that I care about their feelings and how they're doing. And I think if I can be remembered as a kind, compassionate person, I think that would make me very happy.
Wonderful. And if you can leave a message to someone who's going through something right now, and to those who want to add more gratitude, joy, love, and meaning in their lives, what's your one big message?
I think you have to absolutely just go with your gut and follow your dreams. I know that sounds super cliche, but like honestly, if there's something that you want to do, you can't let yourself hold you back. Like you have to go for it and you have to give it your all. And if it works, that's awesome. And if it doesn't, it's not a failure. It's just something that, it's a way that you tried that didn't work, and you can always try another way, right? Like you can always, nothing, it's not, there's no final if you happen to fail at something. It's not, I think a lot of people are scared of failure, and I know that I was and still am, but I try not to see quote unquote failures as a failure. It's just a learning opportunity. It's a chance to try something else.
Indeed, I agree on that. For me, I consider this some sort of failures as lessons in life, and it's just part of our lives. It keeps us alive. These challenges, and I also believe that this path that we have right now, we are exactly where we are, and everything that's just coming is part of it. It's just a process that we have to enjoy and live.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree.
Yeah. Now, is there anything else you'd like to share to our listeners and audience?
I think if anybody out there is going through a loss, whether it be a mother or a child or a parent or a friend, I think it's important to share. And I know a lot of people who have gone through loss and they don't share. And I think every time that I've run across somebody like that, I know it's something that they want to, but for some reason they can't. They don't feel like it's appropriate, or in Western culture we don't talk a whole lot. Well, I wouldn't say Western. I'd say North American. Not well. Even in Mexico, they talk about it more than we do. So I guess I would say, like in the U.S. and Canada, we tend not to shy away from things like grieving and death, and we don't want to talk about it because it's scary. And I think it's important that if you have suffered a loss, you really should share with anybody that you're comfortable with talking about it, and you'd be surprised at how many people are compassionate and receptive to that, and I think it would really make them feel better.
Yeah. It's about sharing our vulnerabilities also, because in our times today, it's just so easy to pretend that we're strong and we're always positive, but even if those people we admire, even if they are positive also, they also share their vulnerabilities, and this makes us human. This makes us feel that we are not alone in this journey, right? Thank you for sharing that, and I appreciate your time being with us. And if people would like to learn more about you, how can they find you and reach you?
They can find me and reach me at pearlsfrommymom.com is my website. I'm also, starting a podcast, which is how I got connected with you, which is amazing. Yeah. So just pearlsfrommymom.com. There's information there. And if they want to share their own story, they can click on that. Or if they want to email me, they can do that. And I'm happy to reach out. If anybody reaches out, I would be happy to chat with them and to have them share their story for sure.
Wow. Okay. That's wonderful. Once again, Jesse, I enjoyed this brief chat with you, and I'd like to thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing your stories and tips, and your dog also.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know you could hear that in the background. She has separation anxiety. I'm so sorry. She really cannot stand to not be close to me. So I tried.
It's okay. Thank you. We enjoyed everything. We learned a lot from you, and it's a grace to have you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Grace and Gratitude. There's more to explore on our website, www.gratefulandjoyfulsoul.com. Also, please help us share this message with your family and friends and leave us a review on iTunes. We're so grateful to have you on this journey.